here. Welcome to our 5th episode of Quarantine Cuisine. Before we get started tonight, I just want to say thank you. So thank you to friends and family. I did this on a bit of a lark, but I'm getting some really great comments back, and I'm glad you're enjoying the series so far. And also thank you to those who cook professionally that I know, both locally and a close group of buddies on the island of Aruba. They're professional chefs trained in Europe, actually. So thanks for your tips along the way. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for your encouragement, everybody. So let's get on to the meal for tonight. So tonight, one of my absolutely favorite dishes I like to prepare. We do this mostly in the summer, only because it gets prepared on the grill. So we've got this beautiful salmon. And I'll get a comment on that in a minute, that I'm going to put on a cedar plank, and we're going to put that on the grill, and the fish gets cooked at the same time, gets infused with the aroma and the flavor of cedar, which is really great. And I just want to do a shout out to the company that we buy the salmon from. It's called seafoodcrate.com, and their motto is "From the waters to your door," which is great. So they buy the fish as a subscription service, so you select what you want, they buy what they sell, and then they prepare it, they ship it directly to our door, all vacuum sealed. So we get salmon from them, either organic salmon or wild-caught salmon. We get halibut, we get black Alaskan cod, we get Chilean sea bass, any number of fish that we get. But it's a great service, great quality. They come already portioned in 7 ounces or 200 grams. And they don't short sheet you, so you definitely get 7 ounces or 200 grams in your portion, sometimes a little bit more, which is fantastic. So, and along with the salmon tonight, I'm going to do a rice that's going to be prepared. It's just a regular long grain rice, but prepared with some dried blueberries, some toasted almonds, and some onion and some flavors and some spice in there. And then as our vegetable tonight, I'm going to do a roasted carrot with a spice called baharat, which is a Middle Eastern spice. I'll get into details later, and obviously I'm going to put some maple syrup on as well, just a sweetness. You get the spiciness of the baharat, you get the roasted carrots, and you get a little bit of sweetness, and the maple really will complement the cedar salmon as well. So that's the meal for tonight. Let's get cooking. Okay, so first tonight we're going to do our vegetable prep, and vegetable prep is actually very simple. We just have 2 things to prepare tonight. One is an onion, and then secondly is our carrots. The onion I'm going to put in the rice. So I'm just going to use very little of this, actually, given the portion that we're going to have. So we're just going to slice up an onion, dice it actually, fairly big chunks. I don't want it really minced. So just dice it up really quick. Okay, that's about all the onion that we need. So we're going to be good here. Okay, and next is prep of our carrots. You may have seen in an earlier episode how I like to do my carrots. I don't like them really cut very thin. I like them uniform and kind of a nice chunky piece. So, and I do like cutting them. I have a preference for cutting everything on the diagonal. So just some really nice pieces here. They'll roast through very nicely with the spices on it. As I get to the thicker part here, I usually like to cut these down a bit. So again, we try to keep the uniformity of the pieces of carrot that we're roasting. There's 3 of us here, so we're going to cut up 2 very large carrots. That should be a really nice portion size for 3 people. Okay, we'll get this put in our bowl. We'll be all set for spicing these up as the next step for getting these in the oven. We're going to put these on roast in the oven with the spices and everything else we have in it. So the prep of the carrots is finished. Okay, now that we've cut up our carrots and they're in this oven-safe dish, we're going to now add our spices to it before we put it in the oven. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. And generally what I do, and it's a bit of a tip, is add your wet ingredients in first. Make sure everything's coated nicely, because if you put the dry ingredients in, there's nothing really for the spices or the dry ingredients to stick to. So get everything kind of mixed up here nice with the oil on it. It's really good. I'm also going to add in, so we have olive oil, I'm going to add some maple syrup, and just a little bit of sweetness. We don't want too much of this, but a little bit of sweetness, which will, go very nicely with the cedar plank salmon, but also will be a really good complement to the baharat that's going in here. So I'm going to add some salt and pepper as well. So a little bit of salt, some black pepper as well. Mix this all up in a minute. It's all good. And the final thing I'm going to add is a spice called baharat. So when you think of various spices from around the world, you think of Asia, they have garam masala. You have ras al hanout from Africa, like Morocco area, Northern Africa. Well, this spice baharat is known very much in Middle Eastern countries. And I like to buy my baharat, and as you get with many curries as well, as every family kind of has their own version of this. I actually buy this from a company down in Toronto called Spice Traders. So this is the one I have, baharat. There's probably various versions and various recipes of this. I cheat a little bit and just rather than mixing up my own, I actually purchase it. And what's in this baharat? So what's in here is paprika, black pepper, there's some coriander, there's cumin, there's cassia, which is a Chinese cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, and nutmeg. So in terms of what portions they are, I don't know, but that's kind of the spices. So you get the scent. It's almost like a bit of a holiday spice. So I'm going to add some baharat into this as well. Just sprinkle it around. Don't want to overpower the carrots because you don't want it to really be the only flavor that's in the dish. So we got our sweetness of our maple syrup, some olive oil to help this roast very nicely, our salt or pepper for seasoning, and then the baharat spice to add some really nice flavor to complement the meal. Okay, so this is all set to go. I'm gonna put this in a 400-degree oven, probably for about 30 minutes or so, and I'll test for doneness. We don't want the carrots to get mushy. We don't want them to be too crispy. A bit of a bite to them, but really have this all good and ready to go. I think about 30 minutes will be all set. So this is all ready to go in the oven. Okay, now we're going to begin our prep for our rice dish tonight. So tonight we're going to do some sliced almonds, but I'm going to roast these up in the pan a little bit just to release the flavors. I really like browning stuff up like this. So it's going to have some sliced almonds. We have some dried blueberries, which is really going to complement exactly what we need for the dish tonight. Of course, you saw the onion we chopped earlier, so the onions are going to come into the dish as well. And then, everything is better with butter, so we're going to put some butter, a little bit of olive oil in here as well. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to toast up our almonds. So I just got the pan on, not really hot, super hot, kind of a medium to medium high heat. I'm going to toast the almonds in here, just throw them in there. No oil, no nothing required. Just going to let them sit there nice, let them brown up. This may take a few minutes to do. Mix them around, just make sure they don't burn at all. So you can see now how the almonds quite quickly actually brown up very nicely. So you don't want them to overburn, you just want them to toast up. It releases the flavor, the nuttiness of the almonds, which is why I do it. And it gives a little bit more crunch, a little bit more texture to the rice dish as well. So it gives just an additional element here. So I'm going to hold this off the heat just a little bit while I do this. Okay, I'm going to turn the flame down because I think that should be just about good for toasting up the almonds. We're all good to go there. Okay, now that our almonds are toasted up, now we're going to actually prepare the rice dish as kind of the final step while we're waiting for the carrots in the oven, and the salmon will go on the grill at the very end. So very simple, I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil in the pan here. It's just over a medium heat, so we don't want to cause any more fire alarms to go off tonight like we have in the previous episodes. And then I'm going to put a little bit of butter in the pan along with that, only because everything's better with butter. So that's fantastic. And now I'm going to add some onions in. Get these to cook off nice. Put them all in. It's all good. Just going to saute these nicely. you know, you can never put too much butter, so let's just go add some more butter in as well. So all good. So we just want to saute this for about a minute or so. We don't want it to cook through. We just want it to be translucent, soften up the onions, release the flavors of the onions as well. And Dorothy was kind enough earlier to prepare some rice, so we just chose long grain rice, only because given the circumstances these days, we don't have a lot of variety. With COVID-19, we're not trying to hoard and buy more than we need, so we kind of are resourceful and use what we have. So we have a long grain rice here that Dorothy prepared. So in terms of quantities, there's 3 of us eating dinner. We have 1 cup of rice that we prepare, which produces about 2 cups of finished rice at the end of it. And the onion was about half an onion that I chopped up, and butter about 2 tablespoons, and then the oil probably about a tablespoon as well, if anybody's wondering about the quantities. Okay, so I'm just going to take our rice that's been prepared. I'm going to put this inside, mix it up with the onion. I'm going to turn the heat down actually, get the flame down a little bit, we don't need to cook this more, we just need to heat this a little bit. Make sure everything's stirred in here nicely. Looking great. Okay, so we have our onion, butter, oil, rice mixture just mixed up here very nicely. I'm going to add some salt and pepper just to season everything up here. Salt's good. Put some black pepper in as well. I'm going to mix in the toasted almonds that we finished earlier. Mix this around as well. What's really great is the almonds add kind of this nutty flavor and a little bit of crunch, like a little extra texture. So the rice is done perfectly as it always is, but the almonds just have this very nice kind of crunchy texture. So, okay, perfect. Now the last ingredient we're going to put in here is I have some dried blueberries that I just add a little bit of liquid to. So we're trying to reconstitute these blueberries. We'll add a little bit of flavor to it. We're going to see what the color looks like after, because this may turn the entire dish a nice, beautiful, purpley blue hue. But we're just going to toss that in there now. Just add a little bit of dimension and flavor of blueberry. And blueberry, of course, quintessential Canadian. And of course, so is salmon, because we have salmon both on the east coast and the west coast of Canada. They're caught off in the salt waters of the Atlantic and the Pacific. Okay, it's as simple as that. So that's pretty much all mixed up. We're just going to cover this so it remains kind of moist. We're going to turn the flame off and just keep this warm while we're ready to go to the plate and the salmon comes off the grill. So that's all done. So this is rice done with toasted almonds, with blueberries, and some simple salt and pepper, butter, and oil. Okay, our wine pairing for tonight. Given we have some salmon on the grill and a limited cellar, we actually chose a 2015 White Rioja from Spain. It's called Antilla, and the name of the wine is Marquis de Caceres. You know, Pinot Noir would actually work very well with this, but we don't have Pinot Noir in our cellar tonight, so we're running on whatever we have in terms of inventory. So what's great about this wine, it's the wine has a grape predominantly called Iota, which has some acidity to it, but also has some peach, pear flavors to it, as well as some citrus tones to it. So we think with the salmon, the fattiness of the salmon, it'll cut through very nicely. I think it'll complement the cedar on the grill as well. So this is the wine we're having for tonight, Antilla 2015 Rioja, and we're just waiting for the salmon to get off the grill, and we're gonna be ready to go to the plate. Okay, so the salmon just came off the grill from the cedar plank, and I tell you, I just can't wait for smell-o-vision because it smells absolutely amazing. This is done perfectly. Took it off around 140 Fahrenheit on the inside temperature on the thickest part, and these look like they're going to just be absolutely done perfectly. So Now we're just ready. Our rice is ready, our carrots are ready, everything is ready. Now we're gonna go plate. Okay, plating is actually going to be quite simple tonight. There's one thing I really like to do because it's just a little bit of whimsy. So I fill the ramekin with our rice mixture, which is the rice, the toasted almonds, as well as the blueberries and onion. So essentially what I do is I try to put that on the plate, turn it over, make a nice ramekin full of this. So that works out very well. And then I'm going to put the protein on. So I'm going to grab a piece of salmon here off of the cedar plank. I'm going to plate that very nicely right there. And then the final thing is to put a nice helping of carrots on the side here. So I think we're good right there. So may I present to you our cedar plank salmon done with salt, pepper, and lemon. Our rice that's done with toasted almonds, some dried blueberries that were reconstituted with some onion, salt, and pepper, and then our carrots that were roasted in the oven with olive oil and the baharat spice. So we've got a very good complement here. So we're good to go. There's our meal for tonight.